Welcome students, this is the Professor Travel welcoming you to our day 5 of our Baltics cruise. Today we start off with a beautiful sunrise in the amazing Tallinn, Estonia. As the sun rises in the distance, we have a couple of hours before the actual ship docks into Estonia. So with a good breakfast and some good laps around the top deck, I'm ready to go for the day. Our tour started taking us from the docks to Old Town Tallinn, which is up on a hillside area. There's a couple of wonderful cathedrals and churches up there, but it's got one of the most beautiful views of the city. Here, the primary religion is the Russian Orthodox religion, and it does predominate most of the area, although there are mosques as well as some synagogues as well. The artwork of the aging city is both welcome and inviting. The heraldry is pristine and beautiful, and offers you a glimpse into the history of the entire area. Not just of Estonia, but also Latvia, Lithuania, Germany, and Russia. On display, one of the oldest churches within the Estonian location. Inside the cathedral, you can see a miraculous amount of artifacts, tapestries, paintings, and we even got an opportunity to hear the organ in play. Unlike most of the other churches and cathedrals we had seen on our journey, this specific one actually did display the heralds and arms of the local rulership, in addition to the iconry from the religious period. The tomb markers were marked with heraldic emblems and carved intricately, as were the tombs. As was mentioned, the pipe organ was in full display and playing for us once we went into the cathedral. Gold adorned many of the statuary located and displayed in the cathedral, and offered just a hint of opulence notwithstanding. Unlike many of the other cathedrals we had also gone to, this cathedral offered a little bit of a different view on their artwork than some of the more Renaissance or Middle Age cathedrals, while still honoring the Christ figure. I wish I had thought to do a rubbing here. This would have been a great opportunity to ask if they would have allowed me to take a piece of black parchment along with a gold crayon in order to be able to do an archaeological relief of this beautiful display. A dedication listed within the cathedral offers us a little bit of a glimpse as to the past. As we exited, we could see another tomb to one of the forefathers of the cathedral. Down the street, but before we came to the actual spectacular view, we saw a minstrel fiddling for the masses for a little bit of coin. Really pleasant gentleman. From the hilltop of Old Tallinn, you can see most of the city below. It's just a spectacular view. And then we descended down the stairwell in order to be able to get to the ground level and back to our bus. Next stop on our tour was Kadriorg, which is Peter the Great's summer palace. Although Peter the Great was a ruler in Russia, he actually built this summer palace here in Estonia in order to be able to get away for the summers. You'll notice the bright colors of many of the buildings, not only here in Estonia, but also in St. Petersburg, the next stop that we had on our tour. It offers us a little bit of a glimpse of how their architectural style as well as paint style details. This palatial mansion, once home again to Peter the Great, was his stopping point between Russia and France when he decided to visit there, getting a lot of his ideas from the French provincial style. He actually saw the Palace of Versailles and actually glimpsed a lot of his ideas and brought them back to Russia for this. This is why you see a lot of the facades and the gardens and the statuary in much the same way that you see them in France at the Palace of Versailles. Before we got in, we had to take a look at the gardens. They were just extraordinarily kept and well manicured, offering a variety of surprises and colors for everyone to see. Not to mention a lovely fountain on the outside next to some of the statuary. In particular, this fountain and statue, it was spectacular. Before entering Just as a side note, on the side of the building, they have this open brick facade, which is intended to be open because they wanted us to see that Peter the Great personally, physically worked on this specific palace. It was one of his pride and joy pieces. He wanted to make sure people knew that he actually did have a hand in creating the palace himself. So this piece of architecture is intentionally left open for everyone to see that. It's located on the back where the garden is located at. As you move towards the front, you see more busts and displays available for the eyes to see. As we enter, lovely displays for seating, although not for us in general. It was for those who did seat there back in the day. For those wanting to understand the exact spelling of the place where we went, Kadriorg is listed right here. On display, a portrait of Catherine the Great, as well as Peter, and Peter's wife as well. Everywhere we turned was artwork, from vases that are intricately painted, to room displays with sculptural icons, to ceilings with intimate portraits, rounded out with a variety of portraits from impressionists to surrealists. This palace has it all. Again on display, the master of the home, Peter the Great, a very large and very sizable gentleman, as well as clothing of the period. And a view of Kadriorg from the outside, this time in sculptural form, wood sculpting. We were impressed with how beautifully and visually stunning Kadriorg was. Then we decided to end our tour and head back to the ship. Once we got back, we decided for dinner. In this particular case, we started off with the French onion soup. In my particular case, I opted for a pot roast with some vegetables and a twice-baked potato, with a lovely wine to go with the whole meal. And ending with an astonishing dessert. This is a chocolate layered delight with gold actually painted over the dessert. You can see it glint in more detail here. Again, I want to thank you so much for joining me on my journey on this day in Estonia. Please, again, like and subscribe. I really do appreciate that. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram at The Professor Travel. Also, find me on Twitter at The Professor TR1. I thank you so much for finding me, and again, make it a wonderful day.